What's up, guys? Off the Line Motorsports here. Once again, I'm getting ready to do the exhaust on the E30 here on the BMW. Got my turbo, everything. V-bend flange welded onto the turbo. Just building the downpipe first. It's going to go down there. It's going to be pretty close to what it would be with whatever turbo motor you're putting in the BMW E30. There may be some slight differences, but see if we can get down here a moment. Going to be running basically the stock location. It's going to be coming down through next to the starter over there, up over with the same heat shield. We've got the other heat shield right there that's going to bolt back up. It's going to run right back along, all the way back. I've actually got a exhaust hanger mocked up back there off of one of the stock hanger locations. I can kind of show you guys that in a little bit, but I'm currently running 3-inch straight pipe just all the way back for now, with the thought if it's too loud, put a resonator or muffler on it or both and tone that thing down a bit. So we are going to start with the downpipe fabrication. Along with that, I will be making another video wrapping on my downpipe. I use a titanium wrap that doesn't need to get wet or anything for you to put it on. It's really nice stuff. Also going to be going over how I'm integrating my dump tube back into the main exhaust. I'm not going to have a separate screamer pipe, just trying to keep the car relatively quiet so I can take the family with me in it. So real quick, just some other things that I've got. I have got piece of 1.5 inch. This is actually from Vibrant. This is 304L. I think it's 4-inch by 12-inch legs on there. I'm going to use this to fabricate the downpipe. This is going to be all my downpipe piping. Got some B-band stuff as well. I have got these Vibrant flex bellows here. They are going to make sure that with any thermal expansion or anything, nothing cracks. Show you guys where I put those, why I put them there. My filler rod, 16th inch 308 filler rod. Got a TIG calculator here. Just kind of give you a rough estimate. If you don't have one of these, you can get one on Amazon for like, I don't know, 10 bucks. I've got some new brushes. You always want to make sure when you're doing stainless steel that everything is super clean. If you've got brushes that you've used on other projects that potentially were not stainless steel, you want to avoid using those. So I just got brand new brushes. I can't guarantee none of mine haven't been used on anything else. So just going to dedicate at least one of these to stainless steel. So also got my piping. I'll do an in-depth kind of review on this piping that I got. It is just an Amazon 3-inch 304 16 gauge stainless piping kit. It's okay. Honestly, the bends are not great. The machines that they use to bend these, looks like the dies were very, very worn. They're all marred up on all of the bends, whereas all these straight pipes are perfectly polished. So overall, the quality seems pretty good. Let's get going on the downpipe. Always double check to make sure your part is tight in your saw. Otherwise, you can have some issues like what you see what's happening. Definitely want to make sure everything's tight. Can hurt the saw blade, the part. Luckily, I didn't have any issues on that front. Everything came out fine, but definitely a reminder is to make sure that everything is nice and tight. All right, well, got the first piece tacked up. Basically, my wastegate is going to come around here and tie in somewhere right over here. That's kind of why I had to push this back away from that wall a little bit. But with my next bend that's going down there back, we should be pretty good. Let's go take a look at the bottom and see how it looks. All right, so there's a pipe coming down. It's basically going to come down here 90 back over this way. Kind of follow this indent here that you can see coming up along the side. Then about right here, it's going to start to kick over and follow underneath the drive shaft kind of all the way down. I'm going to set the camera up and hopefully get a piece kind of mocked up, figure out exactly what piece I'm going to use, and go from there. It's times like these where I really wish I had a lift. Getting this car up off the ground a bit higher would be extremely helpful, but gotta do with what you got. The long leg on this 90 ended up being about 4 inches too short still, so I had to add a filler piece, unfortunately, between the top part of the downpipe and this bottom 90. Not ideal, but sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Quick reminder to always clean off that filler rod. So this is a pretty weird cut. Used kind of a combination of all the tools I had at my disposal. Using a carbide hole saw, end up using a Dremel with a diamond cutoff wheel, an angle grinder, as well as a die grinder to get this shape that I needed to go to. Always start slow, take out little material and work up to the size you need. You don't want to go crazy and end up taking out more material and potentially ruining the part. All right, guys, taking a little bit longer than I anticipated. Part of the reason is having the car on jack stands here with a lift. If you got one, use it. If a friend's got one, ask to borrow it. You can do it, but it's not all that fun. So this is what we're looking at. So everything is just tacked up. Downpipe coming off the turbo with my wastegate going into that 90, going down into my flex coupler, V-band to separate my downpipe from my mid-pipe. 45, 45, 45 to get it back out, long straight piece, another hanger. The other clamp to separate my mid-pipe from the axle back or tailpipe or kind of whatever you want to call that. Yeah, a couple things. The Amazon kit. I wish I would have bought real mandrel bends. These are advertised as mandrel bends. You can see just the quality of these bends. These are two pipes are from the same kit. You can see how shiny it is right here, and when it goes through those mandrel dies, pulled that pipe up pretty bad. The biggest issues I had when I was cutting into the bends to get the proper angles that I needed. These bends are smaller than the 3-inch by a pretty substantial amount. A real good example is right here. You can see this edge of it is flush. This edge of it is probably over an 1/8 inch smaller this distance than it is this distance. This distance is still pretty close. Metal doesn't stretch very much on that side. It's mostly stretching and compressing, the direction of the bend. So same thing here. Again, it's not perfect. It's going to make things a little bit harder to weld. Fit up is key here. But when you buy subpar material, you're left with typically subpar results. So it's going to do the job for sure. I'll be able to get those welded. They may not look the prettiest. I did actually utilize one of the slip fitting adapters right there. When you're doing those, make sure that you leave some space here. You do not want the inner pipe to butt all the way up against this. You want to leave a bit of a gap. Basically what's going to happen is this pipe is going to heat up. It's going to expand and contract in here. You do not want it to be tight up against here, because when it goes to expand, when it gets heated up, it's going to cause issues, whether that be a crack in the weld. I mean, that's probably what's going to happen. It's going to put some bad stress on things, and you don't want to have that. Again, just make sure that they're not seated all the way up against there. Make sure there's a little bit of play. It doesn't need to be much. A 1/4 inch is going to do you plenty. I would not do any less than that, just because you start getting kind of close, and if your pipe isn't cut 100% straight, you might end up a little bit closer than you think you are, and it's kind of hard to tell exactly how far you're set in there. But now it's time to get this up on the bench and start our final welding process. Just starting off here by tacking up all of the parts that I did not, or was not able to reach when I was actually tacking it up underneath the car. Stainless moves a whole bunch when you're welding it, so making sure that you've got really as many tacks as you can before you start that final welding process is really going to help make sure that things don't move too much on you. And then starting the final welding process here, always want to make sure you're back purging when you're using stainless steel. You don't want any sugaring or anything on the inside. I do this, I've got a separate argon tank with a separate meter on it and a tube running to one end of the pipe where all of the holes are sealed up with Kapton tape with a couple holes in the Kapton tape to allow a little bit of that gas to leave when you're filling it. When I'm welding, I'm making sure that I'm only doing maybe 10 or 12 dabs at a time, and then I'm moving sections, rotating the pipe all around. Don't want to put too much heat in one area at a time to help prevent warping and shrinking that happens when you're welding that stainless steel. So take your time, move around, make sure that you're getting everywhere by the time it's completed, but definitely want to kind of move around that pipe a bit to ensure that things don't stretch, contract, kind of warp in weird ways, so when you go for final fit up, it doesn't fit. That's the last thing you want. finally got the exhaust. Finally got the exhaust completed. So here's kind of a brief overview. So dump tube going back into the main exhaust pipe. Down here you can see my O2 sensor bung. It's going to go right there. Then we want to start taking a look underneath the car. We've got the exhaust dropping down, shooting back, all the way over. Then show you it from the back. Coming out from the back underneath the cross member, up and out. So plenty of room right here for a muffler if I want to put it. Plenty of room up there for a resonator if I want to put a resonator in. But yeah, that is pretty much the gist of the exhaust. I've got to wrap my downpipe. Kind of just threw some wrap on a portion of the dump pipe here. Just some leftover scraps that I had just to see if it would fit, to be quite honest. So I'll be doing that soon, making another short video about that. But yeah, we'll see how it works. A little nervous about the angle that ended up coming into, or where it ended up coming into the main exhaust pipe, my dump tube. Going into here. We'll see if I end up getting any boost creep. I'm a little worried that I might get some exhaust gases that try to recirculate and push back into the wastegate, which is not going to be ideal, but if that happens, then we'll address it when the time comes. So thanks for sticking with me through that video. Going to be starting to put some more videos out here, hopefully on a weekly basis. They're probably going to be shorter videos, trying to get some more engagement. Hopefully I can monetize this channel soon, fund a little bit more of this build so we can get it up and going quicker. So if you could please like, comment, subscribe, all of that sort of stuff, that would really help me get this car finished, to help make more content for you guys. So once again, like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, hopefully we can get this bad boy on the road, doing some rips down the street, and get into, working out all the kinks. So yeah, we'll see you soon.